Okay, so let's start with the first topic, guys. We'll start again with your derivatives. We will start with the definition first of derivatives, and then afterwards we'll have the theorem. Okay, so we'll start with this. Ready na tayo, right? Ready na ba?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so let me skip these things. Okay, so we will define derivatives, and then afterwards we'll try to explain the rules again for constant power, constant multiple, sum, difference, product, and quotient. We'll try to have this for today, and then maybe later, if we still have time, we can proceed with this derivatives of natural exponents and natural logarithm functions. Okay, itong mga to later yun lang. We'll try to go back to that next week. So again, let's try to define what is the derivative of a function. So the derivative of a function is again given by f prime of x. So the derivative of small f is given by f prime of x, wherein this is defined to be the limit of your f of x plus delta x minus f of x over delta x as delta x upon 0. Of course, if this limit exists, then we have your derivative. If this does not exist, then there is no derivative, of course. So we tried to have this so we can actually consider the geometric representation of this definition is actually or will be your slope of your tangent line. So before we end our basic calculus, last time we had a short discussion on slope of getting the slope of the tangent line. So basically, when we get the slope of the tangent line, we are just basically getting the derivative of the function. So we will not be using this definition in identity or in solving for the derivative because it will be very lengthy. So instead, we will be using the following theorems. Okay. So I believe you're familiar with this. The derivative of any constant will be 0. And then the derivative of x to the n. So this is the famous power formula. So we just bring down your small n or the exponent n and then subtract the exponent by 1. Okay, guys, take note your small n here is applicable to any real number. So pwede siyang negative, pwede siyang fraction, pwede siyang irrational number or any number. You can actually use this formula. Okay, so I'll just have a corollary here. If you get a derivative of x, don't forget to just be 1. By the derivative of x with respect to x. You notice in this case, guys, merong denominator yung dx. Ibig sabihin, it will tell you what will be the constant, what you call that, the independent variable. Okay. Now, for theorem number 3, if you have a constant multiple, we can just simply extract the constant and then proceed with getting the derivative of the whole function. Okay, so yung pag may constant multiple, hindi natin kailangang isipin. We can just actually extract or factor out because they're a constant. For some difference, we can just simply get the derivative of the them separately. So parang the derivative of the sum is the sum of the derivatives, and same thing with the difference. Yung product, ito yung hindi siya tulad nung sa sum and difference na if you get the derivative sum, this is the sum of the derivatives. But for the product, the derivative of a product is not the product of the derivatives, but instead we have this formula. So we first copy the first factor derivative of the second plus copy the second factor derivative of the first. Same thing with your quotient rule. Okay, so we have this. Ito yung, if you remember na yung mnemonic device natin na log high minus high low over log squared. Okay, so or the denominator times the derivative of the numerator minus the numerator denominator over the square of the denominator. Take note, hindi nyo pwedeng mapagbaliktad to kasi minus to. Otherwise, your derivative will be the negative of the derivative. Okay, malinaw ba? Naalala pa naman tong 6 theorems na to last semester? Any question here? Wala. So let's have example. Okay. So let's have example number 1. So we have f of x equals 3x squared minus x to the negative 4 plus 5. So notice I have an example here wherein we have a difference and a sum, and at the same time we will be using the power formula already. So to do this, again, to get the derivative, so the derivative of f will just be, since this is constant, yung 3 natin dito, we just copy 3, and then the derivative of x squared is become, we bring down the exponent 2, and then we subtract 2 by 1, so naging 1 na lang ito, or x na lang siya. We copy minus here, and then we bring down 4. That's why we have negative 4 here. And then we have negative 5 here as the exponent because we subtracted negative 1 from negative 4. So negative 4 minus 1 became negative 5. And then lastly, we have a plus. And then 5 is constant, so the derivative of constant is 0. That's why we have a plus here. Okay, any question, guys? Malinaw ba? So we can just
Sir,
yes.
paano po naging negative 4? Yung sa second term po.
Okay, so minus. Ito negative 4 na to, ito, galing yung
Negative pala yun.
Okay, negative 4 yung ating exponent dun sa second
Negative.
term.
Okay po, sir. Okay po, salamat.
Okay.
Nilalabas po ba talaga yung x dyan, sir?
Ano ulit?
Negative
Yung x
pala.
po nilalabas po.
Negative 4 minus.
Ano
Ba't
yun?
daw sir nakalabas daw sir yung X? Hindi daw po sir. Bakit daw po yata sir nakalabas daw po sir yung X sa pangalawa? Eh yung sa una po 'di ba? Sinama yung X sa loob ng close parenthesis po.
Yes po,
Okay,
sir. Tama po.
Tandaan yung parenthesis natin, it just groups, nagugrupo tayo. Ito, yung una, yung 3, parang ang grupo kasi natin dito yung derivative ng x squared. Kaya meron tayong 2x. Ito naman, nilagyan ko to ng parenthesis kasi may minus. Okay, may minus dito. So kailangan ko lagyan ng parenthesis to indicate na multiplication tayo ng dalawang sign.
Negative 4.
Okay. Malinaw? And then yung
Yes.
negative 4 na to galing dun sa exponent natin na negative 4. Binilagay lang natin sa baba. Okay? And then we have x to the negative 4 minus 1. Yung, 4, yung negative 4 minus 1 can be negative 5 tayo. Okay, so we can simplify this. Multiply na lang natin to. So magiging 6x. Ito ay negative times negative. So we have a positive 4x to the negative 5. Yung plus 0, so we can just remove that. Okay, malinaw?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, isa pa nga tayo. Gawa pa tayo sa example. Okay, we call this 1.1. Sorry. Okay, X kunwari. Anong gusto nyo? We can consider any suggestion. Anong gusto nyo kuhanan ng derivative? Ano?
Sir, start tayo sir tulad sir nung question sir nung number 1. Yung parang ganun yung format sir before magiging ganyan. Pwede
Hindi.
po ba yun?
Example nga, anong gusto nyo kuhanan ng derivative? Kunwari. Ano? Okay, this 1.1. Ano? give me what you want to answer. Sorry. Baka may suggestion kayo.
Try lang, sir, yung ano, f of x is equals to 9x cube. Pwede ba yun, sir, yung cube babawal? Pwede, sir,
Oo.
mabago, sir, yun sa may first
Kahit
column, sir.
ano, kung
Pwede
gusto
cube.
gawin natin x. Kung
Ganun.
gusto natin x to the 7. Yan. Ano ba?
Sige daw po, sir.
Lagyan natin ng lagyan natin ng tawag nito.
1 million X.
Ha? 1 million x? Gawin natin, lagyan natin ng radicals. Gawin natin x and then ito ay cube root. Okay na ba sa inyo yan?
Oh, sige daw, sir.
Okay,
daw.
ayan. So, paano natin kunin yung derivative? Okay, so para ma-kuha yung derivative, again, first gawin natin itong f prime. Okay.
X to the cube. To 1
Okay. So, yung 7 na to, ilalagay natin sa baba, di ba?
7 to the 6 power.
So, subtrakan natin ito ng isa, so magiging 6. How about ito? Diba itong cube root ng pinanggam ako? Yan. I'm so sweet, nilalanggam ako.
X to 1/3 ba yun, sir?
Yes, this would be x to the 1/3. So ano yung derivative niyang x to the 1/3? So ilalagay natin si 1/3 dito.
3x.
Lalagyan natin ng 1/3 muna, di ba? Dapat ilagay natin si 1/3 dito. So bring down the exponent, di ba? 1/3. So ano mangyayari sa exponent natin dito? Ay, nawala. Anong mangyayari sa exponent? So magiging x to the, ano? Diba dati 1/3 yan? So 1/3 minus 1, ano yung magiging exponent natin dito?
2. Ay, 4. Ay, 2. 2, sir.
1/3 minus 1.
Ay, 1/3 minus.
2/3 ba, sir?
Alin ang mas malaki? 1/3 o 1?
1.
So ano
Sir?
dapat ang sign?
Mas mataas yung 1, sir.
Pag mas malaki ang sinubtract, anong result? Positive, negative?
Negative
Negative.
2/3.
Negative 2.
Okay, negative.
Negative
Thirds.
2/3.
Kasi ito, ulitin natin we can actually rewrite this. Ay, nangyari. We can...
Parang bilis.
Ba't ang bilis? Diba ito, pwede natin itong isulat instead of cube root, pwede natin siyang isulat as ano? Pwede natin itong isulat as x to the 1/3, di ba? Tama? Diba? Tama ba? Ayan, sa baba. Okay. Pares lang tong ito at saka ito, di ba? So para makuha yung derivative, ito yung unang term, madali lang yan. So 7 ibinaba, tapos yung 6, saan galing yung 6? Ano ginawa?
Minus 1.
Okay, 7 minus 1, kaya naging 6. Ito naman, yung 1/3 na exponent natin dito, itong 1/3 na to, di ba? Itong 1/3 na yan, ano nangyari? Nilagay lang natin sa baba ulit, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng 1/3 dito, di ba? Diba?
Yes, sir.
Okay? And then yung 1/3 na yan, sinubtract lang natin ng 1. Okay, so 1/3 minus 1 ay negative 2/3. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng negative 2/3. Okay ba? O baka pa di ba naman pag subtract ng fraction ay litong tumbalelong pa rin kayo? Pakita pa rin natin.
Negative na siya dun.
Medyo.
Nako po. So ipakita rin pa rin natin yung pag-subtract. My gosh. Babalik ko kayong grade 6 eh. O kaya grade 4. O, di ba 1/3? Ayan yung 1/3. Ano mangyayari? Minus 1 daw. Pag nagsusubtract tayo, ano nangyayari? ng fraction, anong kailangan? Dapat
Cross multiplication yan, sir, di ba? Plus minus na.
Magiging add,
multiplication.
gano'n.
Ano magiging add? Nagsusubtract nga eh. Anong kailangan gawin natin sa fraction? Ano na kailangan natin sa denominator? Dapat parehas muna yung denominator.
Over,
Diba?
mali. Di ba pala ako mag...
Eh, di ba parang 1/3?
LCD.
Itong 1 na to, 1/1 lang yan, di ba? Tama?
Tapos cross. Ganun.
Cross.
But sir,
Paparehasin
ganun ako
natin
eh.
yung paparehasin
Times
natin yung
sa
ito,
denominator.
di ba? Ano, LCD ni 3 at saka 1. O kaya LCM, least common multiple. Least common multiple ba yun?
3.
O, 3 to, di ba? So, anong magiging denominator natin dito?
Common
3 din, di ba?
denominator.
Di ba? So, 1 minus 3 kaya negative 2. Ito. Over 3. Okay? Pwede na ba tayo magtuloy sa next na example? Hello? Malinaw na po ba yung
Yes po.
example? Next tayong example?
Yes po, sir.
Next naman na example, ito naman. So, product rule naman ang example natin. So, product rule, ang gagawin natin dito, first is we copy the first factor. So, copyin natin siya. Ganun itsura nito. Okay, so copy natin. Insert equation. Okay, so copyin natin si x squared. Okay. Hindi pa kasi kinopya kanina. Minus 2x plus 5. Okay. And then, next is multiply natin dun sa derivative ng pangalawang factor. So, yung pangalawang factor ay 7x squared plus 3x minus 1. So, derivative natin daw. So, ang derivative na 7x squared, that would be 2 times 7. Ilan yun? 2 times 7 will be 14, right? And
14.
then x to the minus 1, so magiging x to the 1 na lang siya, or x, right? And then ito naman,
X lang.
plus 3. Tama? And then ito, 0 na lang yan. So, hanggang dyan na lang. Tama? Next is, we now add with, copy naman natin yung pangalawang factor. Yung 7 x squared, okay, plus 3x minus 1, and then close. And then we now multiply with the derivative of the first factor. So, ang derivative ng first factor, ang derivative ng x squared, magiging 2x, right? And then minus derivative ng negative 2x, or 2x will just be, okay, can you follow, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we're done. So, pwede mo expand na lang to, or pag ganito, you can just leave it as is.
Yan na yung pinakasagot, sir.
Oh,
Okay, sir.
so we just shown here the what do you call this, the product rule. So first is we copy the first factor. Ito na yung first factor, x squared plus 2 minus 2x plus 5. And then ito na yung magiging derivative ng second factor. And then ito naman yung plus the second factor, and then multiplied with the derivative of the first factor. Okay, malinaw ba? Any question? Hello? May kasama pa ba ako
Okay na po,
dyan?
sir.
Okay, so tuloy naman tayo sa susunod. Yung quotient rule naman tayo. Okay? Quotient rule naman. naman yung quotient rule. So how do we find the derivative of this naman? So using quotient rule, low di high minus high di low. So pwede natin, before we get the derivative, pwede natin munang kunin yung derivative ng bawat part para hindi tayo mahilo ng masyado. So we can actually first get, kunwari, yung u natin, di ba? Yun yung numerator, which is 1 minus 2y. Tama? Nakikita ba itong tinatype ko, guys?
Kita naman, sir.
Opo,
Okay.
sir.
And then, next is we get the derivative. So we call it u prime. Okay? U prime will be what? Ano yung derivative nito? Magiging negative 2. Right? Tama ba?
Yes, sir.
Kasi derivative ng constant ay 0, so minus 2 derivative ng y will be 1. Kaya ganito. Next. We now try to get the derivative, we now get the denominator naman. So v here is your denominator. Copy natin yung denominator. Ano yung denominator natin? Y squared. Okay, y squared. And then plus 4. Right? Tama ba? Okay. Okay, and then we now get the derivative, okay, of, we call it v prime. So ano yung magiging v prime? Okay, so derivative ng y squared will now be 2y. Sorry, 2y. And then the derivative of 4 will be 0, so v prime will be 2y. What?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so kinuhanan pa lang natin ang derivative yung bawat parts ng ating fraction or ng ating quotient. So we first get the derivative of the dividend, and then we get the derivative of the divisor or the denominator in this case. So to get the derivative now, or the derivative of the whole thing, okay, z prime, so this will be equal to what? So first is we copy the denominator. Okay, ilagay natin sa fraction. We first copy the denominator. Ano yung denominator natin? Ang denominator natin ay ito, di ba? Copyahin natin ito. Ayan. Tama? Di ba? Low di high. So derivative of ng ating nasa taas. Derivative ng ating numerator. So which is itong negative 2. Lagyan natin siya dito. Okay? And then minus. Kukopyahin naman natin yung ating numerator, so which is 1 minus 2y. Derivative. Kopya. Okay? And then multiply with the derivative ng ating numerator ay denominator. Ito si 2y. So lalagay natin siya dito. Kopya. And then we have that. And then finally, dito, i-square natin daw yung denominator. Diba? So i-square natin yung ating denominator, which is ito. Copy natin siya dito. Hindi na kasama si 4. Okay? And then square. Okay? Question? Malinaw po ba?
Okay po, sir.
Okay, we can actually still simplify this further. Sorry. We can still simplify this further. Mangyayari. So we can expand this. Sorry. Ayan. Diba may negative 2 tayo doon. I-multiply natin dito. Negative 2 times y squared. So that would be negative 2y squared plus, or that would be minus 8. Tama? Minus 8. Got it? Kasi 4 times negative 2, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng negative 8. Can you follow, guys? And then finally, ito namang negative. So negative 1. So negative times 1, so that would be negative 1 times 2y. So that would be negative 2y. Got it? And then next is, yung dulo, yung plus term will be 1. Negative times negative, so it becomes positive. 2y
4y
times
squared.
2y, so that would be 4y squared. Okay. 4y. Wala. Napunta doon. Wala kasing may dumating na manok. Ano nangyari sa akin ba? Ay, sorry. Siya. 4y squared. Okay. Then simplify na lang natin ito. Again, simplify. Simplify pa more. So this will be positive 2y, di ba? Negative 2y squared plus positive 4y squared. Ingay ng manok nyo, Marco. Ano yung pinang-online sabong nyo ba yan? So positive 2y squared, mawawala na to, di ba? Okay, so yun. Got it? Malinaw? So negative 2y squared plus 4y squared, kaya positive 4y squared, kinopya ko na lang yung iba. As is lang.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, wala po bang kaso kahit anong letter yung ilagay niyo po dyan? Kunyari po, Q squared, ganun.
Ano?
Wala pong kaso kahit ano pong letter yung nakalagay dyan, sir.
Saan?
Dyan po sa may ano nyo po, yung example nyo po. Di ba po kanina nag-X?
Oo, wala namang
Kasi, sir,
problema yan. Basta consistent yung letter. Kung papansin niya, yung
Okay,
una,
sir.
dito, y yung nasa
Yun,
kaliwa,
sir.
x nasa kanan, di ba? Ito naman, z naman ito, puro y naman yung nasa kanan. Pag nag-iba-iba yan, may problema na tayong ibang gagawin. Kasi, kaya importante, if you would notice, dun sa ating theorem, meron tayong denominator na dx sa baba. Ibig sabihin, we are considering ang independent variable natin ay x. Dito, hindi ko nilagay, ibig sabihin x ang independent variable. Dito, x pa rin. Pero dito, notice, ang ginawa natin dito ay z prime. Ang kinukuha kasi actually natin dito is dz over dy na. Eh, kasi y yung nasa kanan. Got it? Kung kasi kung kukuhanin natin dito
Yes,
dz over dx, wala naman ito later on pagdating natin sa partial derivatives, nagsisiro yun. If you get the derivative of a certain variable with respect to another variable at wala siya, we will treat that thing as constant, kaya nagsisiro. Okay?
Sir, tanong din, sir. Lahat ba,
Yes.
sir, ng whole number, sir, tulad, sir, nung positive 1 na yun, tsaka yung positive 4, o pwede po, di ba, mabago yun? Then lahat po yun, sir, equal to 0.
Hindi sila lahat equal to 0. Ang derivative ng constant, yun ang magiging equal sa 0. So kahit anong constant ang ilagay mo dito, kahit anong constant yan, kunwari 1.6, any number, kahit anong number, pag kinuha mo yung derivative, magsi-0 sila. Okay, so i-correct natin ha. Yung derivative ng constant ang mag-i-equal sa 0. Hindi sila equal sa 0, ha? Malinaw?
Okay po. Derivative ng
Derivative ng constant. Hindi yung number ang mag-i-equal sa 0. Okay, may tanong pa ba? Okay, kung wala na, so itigil muna natin yung klase ngayon. Naka 40 minutes na rin tayo. Ang next topic natin will be on the other theorems after the quotient rule. But may expect next week na mag-upload ulit ako ng quiz sa Google Classroom. So at 3 o'clock, mag-upload na ako nun. So paki-check na lang yung exam nyo. And then it will be closed again for the whole weekend. Okay? Tapos magkaklase tayo ng
Okay
4
po,
o'clock
sir.
next week.
Salamat.
Kailan mo po, sir, sir, ipo sir?
Next week.
Next week, mga 3 o'clock ulit. Di ba 3 to 6 ang klase natin? So I'll be posting the quiz at 3 o'clock siguro. I'll schedule it at 3 o'clock. Sa Google
Sige
Classroom
po, sir.
natin ulit. Ha?
Sige po, sir. Salamat po.
Okay, so ang coverage ng quiz natin will be on the first theorems natin, yung theorem 1 to 6 natin. Okay?
Sir, mag-upload po kayo ng module?
Yes.
Sir,
Mag-upload pa rin ako ng module.
Coverage pa rin, sir, yung 1 to 6?
Yung
Yung 1 to
theorems
6
1.
din, sir, kaganina?
Yes, yung theorem 1 to 6. Ito yung magiging
Di
coverage
ba, sir,
ng
1
quiz.
to 2 pa lang ata, sir, yung natakal natin ngayon? 1 to 2 pa lang.
Di ba meron na tayong sum and difference? Ito na yun, di ba? Pag ito, sum, difference, di ba? Itong product rule, ito naman yun. Ay, sorry. Ito, product rule. Oh. Di ba? And then yung rule number 6, quotient rule. Ito na yung quotient rule. Okay? And then yung theorem 1 naman, yung theorem 2, ito na yung product, ay yung power formula na embedded sa lahat. Di ba? Merong mga power formula tayong ginamit dito, ganun din dito, at lalo na dito sa unang dalawang example. Okay? Malinaw ba? Okay, unless you want more example before we can end. Wala na ba?
Wala na po, sir. Bigyan na ulit, sir, ng example, sir, next week.
Anyway, so expect na I'll be posting the quiz already at 3 p.m. by 3 p.m. next week. So ready tayo doon. Malay mo, tupakin ako, tapusin ko siya, i-end ko siya ng 1 oras lang, di ba? So tapusin nyo agad.
Huwag naman, sir.
Iyak kami,
Bakit?
sir.
1 oras lang na. Gusto nyo isang ilang araw ang quiz. Quiz nga lang yun eh.
Sa linggo, sir.
Nasasanay ko isang
Sir,
linggong
isang
quiz.
linggo.
Naku,
Isang linggo, sir.
isang linggo nag-uusap-usap pa
Sir,
ata
di na
kayo.
ako, sir, magaling sa math.
Engineering ka tapos di ka magaling sa math. Diyos ko Lord. Joke lang.